So JC Desserts started, honestly, as soon as I stepped out of college, out of culinary school. I started doing, side projects here and there for customers. And then as soon as I reached back to Richmond, I, went full force. Of course, I had somewhat of a career going through, different states, different properties. And as soon as I came back, I knew what I wanted, and I'm living that dream right now. Okay, so I graduated culinary school in 2014, and like I said, I've jumped around a bit. So I've been in West Virginia, I've been in Charlotte, North Carolina, of course, and then I went down to South Florida for a while. I did a couple stints down there, and so starting in West Virginia, working at the Greenbrier Resort, which is a phenomenal they have a phenomenal pastry program where you can really dive in and hone your skills, whether it be, you're looking into like chocolate work, sugar work, breads, anything like that. It's really a place where you can really hone in on your skills. And then from there, I went to South Florida, where I actually jumped out of pastry for a little bit, and I did savory rather, and I was working the line, and it was definitely a eye-opening experience to where before, of course, I'm working with sweets and everything like that, but then as soon as I get into savory, it opens my eyes to different flavors, different, herbs, different spices, and then bringing that home to the pastry and incorporating that into my repertoire. It really was an eye-opening experience for me. So then jumping from there to South Florida, I did a small stint in Charlotte, North Carolina, working for a club there, which was phenomenal. And then I actually jumped back to South Florida to work for Norman Love Confections, which is where my knowledge, my skills really just, it was outstanding. The amount of knowledge I gained from the chefs there, it was really an experience that I walked in the business and like I'm doing my interviews, and it's exactly what I wanted. It's exactly what I saw for myself, what I saw for JC Desserts. So I went to Johnson Wales University, and so I started there in 2012. I graduated, of course, with my pastry degree, and actually before then I attended Morgan State University in Baltimore. So I attended Morgan State, and I was studying to be a landscape architect, which is something I really dabbled in outside of work. And I found out that the city, or whatever the case was at the time, it wasn't for me. So I jumped out, and then I got to working for my cousin, who's a culinarian at VCU. Well, at the time she was working at VCU. And it was really an experience. That's when VCU was going to the Final Four, and everything was booming downtown, and it was really a fun experience. And during that period, I did some soul searching. I wanted to figure out where I wanted to go in life, what I wanted to do, and then I slowly just contracted to what was simply something I like to do. And that's how I jumped into pastry. That's how I jumped into culinary. And then from there, things really took off. My favorite part of attending about Johnson Wales was that the exposure it gave me, from the different chefs I got to work under, to the ingredients, to really the knowledge they put in me. And of course, people say knowledge is power, but I think knowledge is not power until you use it, until you know how to use it, until you really execute what you know. Otherwise, you can hand me a book telling me how to make $1 million, but if I don't read it, if I don't execute what's in the book, it's just another book. So the exposure Johnson Wales really gave me was learning how to work under different chefs because, of course, once you hit real life, you're working with other chefs and you're working with people from different backgrounds, culinary backgrounds. It's a really learning experience to where you really have to learn how to work with other people, learn their triggers, their cues, learn how they work, and it's vice versa as well. So they gave me a really great background on how to really great background on how to work with people in general, and then work with other culinarians. So it was a great experience, great for the exposure. I still keep in contact with chefs from there today. So I decided to become a chef back in 2011, I decided to join culinary school or apply to culinary school. And I was really doing some soul searching of what kind of career I wanted to pursue in life. And, I broke it down to something basic it's something I think a lot of young people do or young people think about when they're applying to college, when they are looking for a career. First thing is what's going to make me the most money, what's going to supply the funds to the life I want to live. And I went about that completely the wrong way. And I broke it down to what was something I simply liked doing, or what was a hobby of mine that I could possibly take into a career. And what I came to actually figure out was I like eating sweets. It started as simple as that. I liked eating sweets, and then I actually baked here and there for the family, just on family occasions, whether it was like Christmas, holidays, whatever the case was. And it was just something simple, box cakes, frozen cookies. It was nothing crazy, nothing extensive. And so I broke it down to just that, something I like doing. And I spoke with one of my cousins who was actually a culinarian at VCU, and she already had went to Johnson & Wales, which was actually at the time in Norfolk State University, or not Norfolk State, but Norfolk, Virginia. It was in Norfolk, Virginia, and then it moved to Charlotte. And I really honed in on, okay, this is what I want to pursue. If this doesn't work out, hey, we're going to go to armed forces, we're going to do something else. We're going to have a backup plan, either way. And as soon as I applied to culinary school, I found out it's exactly what I wanted to do. I will say the challenges when you first start are getting over the fact that you will be doing work you don't want to do. Cookies, brownies, like the easiest stuff you can think of. That's going to be what you're going to be doing when you first start off. But that's going to be your foundation. That's going to, get your repertoire up. That's going to get you a work ethic that you really need to have when you're building your knowledge and your skills, your techniques, because that's, like I said, it's going to be the foundation, and you need a strong foundation, because once you really get into different establishments to where you're working 10 plus hours a day, you're in hot kitchens where you would think, this is crazy how hot it is on the line. I think that's one of the first things you need to do, is really set in your expectations, and that's where it all starts. What you expect, what are you looking to get out of? Whether you're going or what your goals are, you need to really hone in on what you expect or what you look forward to doing in this career. My typical day, so I actually still have my 9 to 5. So my typical day is either at night or in the morning, whichever the case may be. I am coming in, let's say I work my 9 to 5 in the morning. After that, it's maybe 6 to another 8 hours working for myself with JC Desserts. And then, of course, you get home, you got to eat, you got to sleep. But then you're waking up in those, I'd say in these small spaces throughout the day, whether it's driving, whether it's, you're on your break. It's always filled up, whether it's meetings, whether it's calls, whether it's doing social media, marketing, branding, all of that. Recipe calls, recipe configurations, networking. It's really a 24/7 job. As soon as you step into the entrepreneur life, it's a 24/7 job. It's almost no break. Even when you want to break, it's, you have to find you really have to find something that takes your mind off of everything you're doing. And for me, that's music. So I would say challenging aspects that I knew getting into it, but of course you never know what it's like until you experience it. And that's being the 24/7. Of course, you're going to think about everything you have to do throughout the day. And it's not even just the day, it's the week, it's the month, it's the rest of the year. It's almost a never-ending cycle to where, okay, it's a never-ending list of things to do. Yes, you may cross off this for today, or even this week, but you can easily replace that with something for a goal or something you need to do for the year, to where you really, it's, like I said, it's a never-ending list, and it's a 24/7 hour job that I actually love doing, because it's way more fulfilling than working for anybody I've worked for before. And once you find your passion, once you find what you really love doing, a lot of the quote-unquote hard work is really something that you end up enjoying to do. Marketing, I learned a lot from YouTube. YouTube is let's be honest, YouTube is a quality source for a lot of different information, no matter what field you're in. Marketing is big on YouTube, as well as marketing podcasts. That's something I really take to, especially in those breaks within the day, whether it's I'm driving to work, or I'm driving, to the grocery store, or, I'm doing maybe I'm tempering chocolate and I have the headphones in, and it's something I really don't have to think about, and I can actually listen in onto the podcast. That's where a lot of my marketing knowledge comes from. It's almost like a tiered system. There's one chef that definitely comes to mind, which is a friend, a mentor, and that's John Cook. He works out in he works out in Asheville, North Carolina. And he is a mentor, he knows everything about everything. He is a Swiss Army knife when it comes to just overall knowledge. And I just had a session with him a couple of weeks ago where, I asked him one thing and it led to, an hour-long conversation, which I thoroughly enjoyed. But there's also other chefs that, you look to from afar, whether it's just on Instagram, Facebook, or online in general. Their business models match what I look for, or match what I look forward to have in my own business. So on a minuscule level, there's many chefs, but definitely John Cook in North Carolina. He definitely is a friend and a mentor to me. So. My favorite item to make is something that is not on my menu just yet, but I love making croissants, I love making danishes. Just the lamination process, figuring it out, when you finally get down exactly how you want to create it, and then from there you go to the different shapes, the different flavors, the jams, the custards, everything that goes inside of it, it really, it takes me to a different place. Like, I'm not a bread baker by any means. It's something, of course, I know I have in my repertoire, but that's something I save for home. That's something, I do on a Sunday, whether, it's just, I let it proof. I'm making rolls. I'm making, I'll make a bread roll here and there, but otherwise, it's something I just thoroughly enjoy doing on my off time. Food costing is one of those things where everybody dreads, including myself. Uh, it's a process which, well, I'll say this. Once you get all your numbers down, you get your spreadsheets worked out, all of that. After you do that, it becomes a little bit easier where all you have to do is just plug in a recipe. But getting to that point, yes, it's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of, and it's something I still work on today because you can always still be learning. So I'm looking at different chefs, whether it's YouTube or online, whatever the case may be. I'm looking at how they price their same products, their same items, and I'm making sure I'm in line with not only the market, but what I feel is appropriate for the market in general, whether it's U.S. market or the Richmond market. Food costing definitely is a issue. I say issue because it's something I dread doing, but it's something that really it's really important for the business. You have to know what you're charging or how much, whatever you're making, how much it costs, because at the end of the day, bills need to be paid, people need to be paid, and that needs to be covered. So. When I am happiest at work, I am happiest at work. There's two moments when I'm happiest at work. First is going to be the obvious, which is customer feedback. When I'm talking to a customer or a previous customer and they tell me how much they enjoyed the product, how it really affected not only their lives, but if they gave it as a gift, how it affected that person's life. And that's really where, it brings all the hard work, all the, blood, sweat, and tears to, this is why I'm doing it. So that's the first, that's the first part of where I love what I do. And then secondly is actually when I'm tempering chocolate, which is one of those moments throughout the whole chaotic day, throughout the whole chaotic process of making chocolates, making pastries, where I really, it's quiet. I don't know whether it's just me mentally or it just so happens to be in the kitchen where nobody else is working, that it's quiet, it's a calm feeling, it's, it's soothing, it's, it's a place where I can actually meditate while I'm working. It's a really nice moment in time, and that's where I find my love. The advice I would give to not only a baking and pastry student, but a student of any craft is find out what you want to do. Well, first I would say find yourself. Be self-aware of what your goals look like. Be self-aware of where you see yourself in 2, 3, 5, 10 years from now. First figure, or have an idea. You don't have to figure it all out at once, but figure out where you want to go and start. The thing is to start, have momentum in whatever you do. That's the first thing. Secondly, I would say research. Research is important no matter what you're doing. Research where you're going, who you're working for, your bosses. Everything's online these days, so definitely do your research. Know what you're getting into, because like I said, expectations are the key. If you know you're going into a high-end establishment where everybody's on their top-notch game, you will want to be the exact same way. So knowing that from the jump will set you up to really make conscious and subconscious moves to where you're in line with what you want to do in life, with your goals and everything you want to do.